Well, good morning. Welcome to American Reversion. I'm Steve Smith. How are you all today? I've had this stinking thing in my throat and my chest for the last few days, so I apologize for if I cough. I'll try not to, or I'll try to pause it before I do so I don't cough into your ears too much. How are you all today? Welcome to everybody, all the new people, both on YouTube and on Patreon. It's good to have you. I want to talk today about quitters, because quitters, well, they have affected a lot of what's going on in our country. And I doubt that any of you out there are quitters, but I want to pose this question. Maybe you should be. Or I guess that was a statement, not a question. Maybe you should be. Let me put it this way. Should you be? I want to give you something to think about here. Before I get started, by the way, have you noticed these two beautiful lanterns behind me? Those were made by one of our patrons over on the Integrative Preparedness Patreon channel. Hondo Bob, he is our science expert. He is our expert. The guy has just got such a broad range of knowledge. Retired military, in which he did many different things. So he's our EMP expert. He's so many things I can't explain. Well, he made these and he sent them to me. And what a deal that was, along with a very long letter that I can't even begin to get into about the importance about the lanterns, Paul Revere's ride, and the lanterns that were used. You know, one if by land, two if by sea, and I on the opposite shore will be, you know, you're familiar with that poem, hopefully. Anyway, Hondo just said that he was considering, because we talk about, you know, in starting new streams of income, he said he was considering making these for people and putting them online to buy. So that may be coming up, just to kind of give you a heads up on that. Those may be for sale sometime in the future, and they are beautiful. I have them going on here all the time. Okay, quitters. What happened with this last election? Yeah, it was a disappointment, wasn't it? What was the reason for what happened? Well, politics is corrupt. The Democrat Party has been corrupt forever. I'm not saying that the Republican Party is not, because it is. It is. There are bright spots, I think, in the Republican Party, but as a party, I mean, you just look at Mitch McConnell and go down the side. One of the so yes, we can ascribe this recent disappointment to corruptions and cheating and all sorts of things. I mean, for crying out loud, they still don't know what's going on in Arizona. Well, we know what's going on in Arizona, don't we? But there's another thing, and that is people who have quit. People who claim to hold our opinions on things, but will no longer have anything to do with the political process. They quit. They didn't vote. I was disgusted at how many people I found out don't vote and then get all upset about it. So we have the quitters to thank, and I wouldn't give these quitters any attention at all. But they are, you know, if I lose a game, I don't blame my opponent because he's trying to win. I blame the people on my team who didn't bring everything they had to the game. Okay, that's where we need to put the blame. So yeah, for those who didn't vote, it's on you. And I don't think there's anybody here that applies to. But just putting my opinion out there. And we should not let these people go with, well, I understand, you know, it's corrupt. They didn't do what they could have. I think it's corrupt, but I voted. Most of you all did. Well, we have something, so those are quitters here. Now here's something that, and I'm for those of you who are over on the Patreon channel, you may have already seen this, but I just put these up this morning. I want to tell you all about a few articles that I put up over there. The first one was from Josh Hawley. He says it's time to bury the Republican Party and build something new. I couldn't agree with him more. That's about quitting. Quitting a corrupt an ineffective Republican Party. Excuse me, I have to cough. Okay, I have been a registered Republican a number of times. Whenever I want to vote in a primary, I'll go in and I'll register as a Republican, and then I unregister and re-register as non-affiliated or independent. I haven't been a registered Democrat since 1976. I voted for Jimmy Carter. I'm sorry. I was an idiot. Then I started to learn. I have gone back and forth occasionally, but I've never considered myself a Republican. Now, I have quit the system also for a number of years out of disgust, and I finally came to believe, it's my belief, that not having a say in the system is allowing the system to run its course without your input. Was it Plato that said the result of not being involved in the political process is that you are ruled by your lessers? Well, he was exactly right. So if you don't participate, you're just saying that what you think is going on is fine. However, it's one thing to completely divorce yourself from the process. It's another thing to simply withhold your support for a place that you think is also corrupt. So in that, I think, and I've put all of these, I'm throwing these things out to you all. I'm going to start using Patreon now as kind of an addendum, and every day I'm going to put up a number of political stories that you all may or may not have seen. So it's going to be kind of, that's going to be kind of an aggregator that you can just, you know, the headlines I'm going to put up here and my opinion on them, you're going to be able to go to Patreon. If you're not already over there, I wish you would come over there. You'd not only support the channel, but you're going to have a lot more information now. And these times ahead, I think, are very important politically. It's important for what's going to come with our country, for our kids, for our grandkids. So anyway, so those are already up there over there, and I'm going down the list here to tell you what's over there. The second one was this wasn't an election. Starts off, I am a libertarian, which is to say I believe the government should stay out of my life as much as possible, but until recently I was a conventional Republican. In fact, I spent a lot of time as a neocon. How did I get there, from there to here? This is from American Greatness, and this is someone who has finally understood that there are differences, but this wasn't an election. Was it FDR? I think it was FDR that actually said that, first said that many people have mimicked through the years, and that is presidents are selected, not elected. Okay, we'll be talking more about that. Another one is the GOP. Where's this from? Let me bring this up here. The GOP did nothing to stop the fraud. This is from America Out Loud. The GOP did nothing to stop the fraud in 2020, and it repeated not doing anything in 2022. What do we do now? What do we do now? The next one that I put up was, are there silver linings? This is an interesting. This is a piece from Breitbart, and let me see who did it here. This is James Pinkerton. He says that there are a couple of silver linings to this disappointment. I will agree with him on this, but it would take far too long for me to explain why I do. Read the article for yourself, and you'll see there are silver linings for the 2024. All right, but we're gonna, it's one of those hopium moments that, well, okay, no matter what happens now, we have hope for the future. Well, we always have to have hope for the future. I mean, what is your alternative? But he has a couple of good points that I've made in the past. I'll let you read about that. And over there, feel free and please do leave your comments for discussion for others, because your thoughts may or may not agree with other people, but they will give other people something to think about, and maybe what other people put out there will give you something to think about. Everybody will be better off for it. Next, I put up something from, let me check this here. I put up something from the Liberty Daily. It says, yes, your taxpayer dollars were filtered through the Ukraine into FTX. You all keeping up with that? And then used to fund the Democrat campaigns. And they lay it out there pretty well. They say exactly how this money was filtered through. The level of corruption is so vast, so wide, and so deep that while it's interesting to begin with, it almost makes you want to bang your head against a wall, right? Because it just seems like there is nothing that's not corrupt. Nothing. And when you get into politics, that's certainly true. But what we have to keep in mind is that there is, or there has to be, something that's not corrupt, and that's us. That's us and our influence on the system. Now, people will say, well, it's impossible to beat a corrupt system. No, it's not, because I could tell you instances in which my family, back in the 30s and 40s, they did fight against a corrupt system and won. It's not just my family. It's many times corruption has been beat. The problem was the weakness of the people at large, that having gotten a win, look what happened when Reagan got a win. Look what happened when Trump got a win. When people thought that they were getting what they wanted, all of a sudden they relaxed. Okay, good times are here again. We don't have to keep being involved in the political process. Well, the ones who win the fight are the ones who fight the hardest, usually, and have the best tactics and techniques, from an old fighting time. And the other side does better at that than we do. If we want to win in the future, first off, we have to be willing to fight. We have to develop better tactics and techniques, and we have to fight harder. Voting has never been enough. I hear these people making fun of those of us who vote. And they say, well, I guess you just need to vote harder, don't you? And, that's an idiotic way of kind of setting up a false, a false premise. It's a straw man argument. No, you can't vote. You vote, okay? You don't vote harder, but what you do is you work harder. You work harder. Even though they cheat, they also outwork us. The Democrats outwork us. Right around here in the 3rd District of Kansas, Sharice Davids, a screaming liberal, who got in because she was a lesbian, Native American, veteran cage fighter. She brought nothing to the table except all of those that appealed to so many of these little segments that wanted to vote for that she got elected a couple of years ago. She just got reelected. Well, she got out and she worked her butt off. I'm going to give her this. She worked her butt off. She was always on the radio. There was more Sharice Davids signs around here than anything. The person who ran against her, what was her name? Hey, honey? Yeah. Who ran against Sharice Davis? Amanda Atkins. See, I don't even remember her name, and I like her very much. Her signs were bland. Her radio interviews were bland. She did not get out there and work, and you cannot lay that Sharice Davis just beat her to death. You can't lay that loss at the fact that there was cheating done. The other side worked hard. Our side did not. Kelly told me she was so disgusted to hear the day before the election that Amanda Atkins was on a radio show, a radio program around here, and the guy gave her a chance. Give us your last 60 seconds on why Americans, why we need to vote for you. And Kelly says she just came on this kind of whiny voice and saying, I ask for your vote. I ask for your vote. Well, what kind of idiotic, non-dynamic attitude is that? Okay, she didn't want it. She had an opportunity to come on and say and tell people where the rabbit sat. I need your vote because things are going wrong in our country. We need to turn things around. We need to take it back to our foundational principles. We need to return the rights of parents over their children. We need to rein in the federal government. We need to rein in local school boards who are, she had a chance to do that. Instead of that, she just went, I ask for your vote. I ask for your vote. We had a lot of bad candidates. Well, okay, I'm not a Republican. The Republicans had a lot of bad candidates out there. They did. They did. People had this idea that somehow things were so horrible in our country that it was, a red tidal wave was just an assured thing. And I warned about that a long time ago, right? And I warned a long time ago, don't be surprised if Biden gets reelected, because we've seen it in the past. So quit. Or should we quit? Should we quit? And that doesn't mean should we quit being involved in the political process. It means should we, like Josh Hawley says, should we burn this old system down and start something new? Another cough coming up. And my opinion is, yes, we should, but it takes hard work, and it takes dynamic action, and it takes determination, and it takes energy. Okay, it takes hard work. I quit right now. I'm going to say I quit the old way of doing things, and there has to be a new way of doing things. That's kind of what we talk about. I haven't really pumped this that hard lately. But it's what we talk about, an American reversion. There has to be a new way of doing things, and it's up to us to do it. So think about all those quitters who didn't help, but think about whether or not we should also quit the old way, which I'm going to, and find that new way ahead that hopefully will bring a future America that we want for our kids and our grandkids. So I'm going to leave it with that. Leave your comments. Tell me what you think about this. And remember, if you're not with us over on Patreon, I am now going to make it more of a resource, and I would love to have you over there. Not only does it, like I say, it supports the channel, but I'm not very. I'm sick. I've been sick for several days and pretty darn sick, so that's why I'm not really up in arms. But I hope I haven't put you to sleep with what I've said here today. I wasn't very dynamic myself, was it? But not only will you support the channel by coming over as a patron on Patreon site, on the channel, and the link's down there, but you will. There will be a lot of stuff up there that I'll post that maybe you haven't seen, haven't read, whatever, and would love to have you involved in the conversation. So remember, America needs a reversion. It needs you to be a part of it. It needs me to be a part of it. It needs all of us to be a part of it. But it needs us working at it. Not just separating ourselves from the corruption, but actually working towards substituting something else for it. So you all have a good day, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.